Hi everyone. I first want to start off by saying how grateful that I am to be here today. I want to thank the amazing faculty who have pushed us and helped us foster our knowledge to grow into competent and passionate nurses. We have all come so far. From the first year with intensive coursework like adult health, psychiatric mental health, and our first clinical rotations. One of the most challenging assignments for me starting off was the video performance exams. My first semester of nursing school required the completion of a Foley catheter insertion, as well as a medication administration and an assessment video performance exam. I remember those days like yesterday. I remember stressing about the sterile technique and pondering about how I would ever get the video completed in under one take. I remember signing up and attending multiple time slots because I couldn't seem to get it under 20 minutes. But then, something clicked, and I did it. Like you all here today, we did it. I look back and I see all the leaves that I've compiled since then. Leaves are the branches of knowledge that we gain as we advance through life. From Adult Health 1 to Capstone, the skills that we've gained have built on one another and given us a solid foundation for future practice. When I first came to the University of Texas at Austin, I knew I wanted to be a nurse. I had applied in high school, and the joy that I felt when I got my acceptance letter is indescribable. A nurse is someone who makes a real change and cares for their community. That is what I wanted to be. My love for nursing began when I took my first ambulance ride at the age of 15. My dad had an exacerbation with fluid volume overload, and it got to a point where he couldn't breathe on his own anymore. We called an ambulance, and they arrived within a few minutes. I remember gathering a few outfit changes for my dad and I because I wasn't sure how long we'd be there that time. I rode in the front with the driver, and they cared for my dad in the back. As a teenage girl, I was terrified. I didn't know what would happen, but once we got to the hospital, the first faces that I saw were nurses. Their warm smiles and embrace reassured me that everything was going to be okay. I entrusted my dad to them and that they would care for him to the best of their abilities. I watched as they quickly rushed him into the ER room and gave him oxygen through a nasal cannula as well as withdrew his blood. I couldn't believe how fast and confident they were with every step that they took. Blue-suited heroes, that is what a nurse is to me. Someone who is fearless and takes head charge into situations that many would run from. Bravery, a characteristic that nurses hold high every day. The idea that I could be someone as brave and sharp as the nurses who cared for my dad was enough for me to apply to University of Texas Nursing School. That's a little background about my pathway into nursing. My father is here today, like many of your loved ones, and I cannot be more grateful. The nurses that we've met along the way and will meet have changed our lives. Then, once I got into the School of Nursing, I had no idea what came next. I wasn't aware of the multitude of specialties that nurses can go into, from med-surg, OR, mother-baby, public health, education, psychiatric, NICU, pediatrics, and many more. I simply was not aware. However, after going through my rotations from J1 all the way till now, I know exactly what I want to do. Pediatrics. Caring for one of the most vulnerable populations is something that I'm incredibly eager to do. My spark for pediatrics began when I had my rotation at a pediatric hospital during my last semester. I walked in and I had no idea what to expect. The first thing that I noticed was how colorful everything was. The walls were decorated with cartoon characters like the Minions, Mickey Mouse, Pooh Bear, Spider-Man, and many more. It felt like a completely different world, and that made me realize how young and vulnerable these patients truly are. My first patient was a 3-week-old infant, and when I went into his room, I noticed that he was laying in his crib and his entire body was covered in casts. From his arms to his legs, they were wrapped completely. I immediately asked the nurse, "What happened?" and she said they're not exactly sure, but he came in with multiple bone fractures. Most likely from a NAT or a non-accidental trauma, and that the caregivers weren't doing a very good job at caring for him, or that they possibly harmed him. I was shocked and I couldn't believe what an infant went through in her first stage of life. I was able to care for him and spend time with him by holding him and feeding him, and I found myself on the other side of care in that moment. Rather than me counting on the nurses to care for my dad, that infant was counting on me to care for him. Spending time with him and seeing him relax in my arms made me realize how special pediatrics is to me. My aspiration is to be a voice for the children in our community and give them a fair fighting chance at life. In doing so, I can become a Blue hero myself. I am proud of us. We have made it this far and today embarks on our journey to fly even higher. From all the care plans, presentations, dissertations, research projects, clinicals, and exams, we prevailed and we made it. And now we will go on a journey that seeks to care for our community, whether it's in education, bedside, outpatient, or another aspect of nursing. We will make a difference in our community. We all inspire each other, and I cannot wait to see what pathways we take on. To family and friends, thank you. Thank you for supporting us through the nursing school, one of the most challenging and rewarding schools here at the University of Texas at Austin. And to all our faculty and professors who have created a rigorous and staggering curriculum, I want to thank you again. The leaves that I have gained while here at the University of Texas Nursing School will never fall. And as we know, what starts here changes the world, and I am so grateful to be a part of it. Hook 'em horns.